Space Sprouts is an adorable exploration game where we discover the mysteries of a ship we're traveling on through space. There are over 100 memories to uncover, many of them linked to achievements, so let's see how to get them all. The game's premise is set around telling a story of your journey to your grandchild, and the gameplay takes place in loops, so we have limited time each loop, and after that we restart our journey and fill in more of the blanks. But obviously every time we get to take with us the knowledge of what we've done so far and see how we can expand on it. Before we get on our ship, we have to complete this tutorial area, and there are already achievements and memories to uncover here, so we should make sure to collect them all before we set off on our real journey. Once we have reached the terminal area, we're able to start earning achievements. So if we start grabbing random luggage out of this area here, we'll receive the achievement for Space Invader for taking other people's stuff. You can keep doing this because sometimes the items you will find in the luggages will be what you want for some of the other achievements. For example, if you grab the scissors and use them, you will give yourself a new haircut and earn the New Look, New Me achievement. Grabbing this jetpack item will let you fly around and reach this area up here, which then allows us to access this panel and turn off gravity, earning us the facility manager achievement. There are a couple more controls here, letting us to turn the lights off and close the blinds, but this does not appear to be linked to any achievements or memories. For now, we will want to have the gravity back on before we use that panel for another achievement. There is also a time-based leaving the nest achievement. If you're just playing around in this area, it will just unlock. Another thing you want to do here is pick up a plant from the ground and then use it to hug it. Yes, which will give us the plant love achievement. Cuddling the little plant. Next, grab a heavy item and bring it to this plate here. Right now it's already activated because a luggage just fell on it, but yes. If you drop a plate on it, it activates the massage chair, and then we can sit on it and receive a massage. After a little while, it should result in another achievement for Space Day or Spa Day for getting a massage. And we're getting all wobbly. Next, we have this drink machine up here. If we just start pressing all the buttons, getting lots of drinks, eventually it will lead to another achievement for Is There a Limit? Of a big number of items in the terminal. Okay, we're almost there with our terminal memories. You can always press X to see where you are. So now to complete the whole area, before we truly leave, we want to grab the jetpack again and fly up to the controls. Turn off gravity so that we can just float around. You can use the jetpack to go faster, or you can just use the weightlessness to go faster. Grab one of the drinks to have it on you, and then instead of just following the ground, we going to fly near the ceiling and fly into the ship area here without using the lever at the bottom. That gives us an achievement for using an alternative path. And we also want to take the drink because that's another memory. And making it to the ship is also something we get an achievement for. If you miss any achievement, you can always just replay the tutorial from the main menu. So my drink achievement didn't work, but now I brought a whole stack with me, just pushing them across the ground. And hopefully that will be enough of them. Now I'm using the normal route to get into the ship. There we go. For takeaway. That's for taking a number of drinks with us. And yeah, after that we get onto the ship. So from here, every time we start the game normally, we will be starting here instead of going through the terminal every time. So we start the ship. That's the first thing. To keep going, we can't leave this pilot area before that happens. So one of the first achievements you can get is just boosting yourself up into the air with this panel here. very easy and no trouble. A quick one in the cockpit is to interact with those monitors to see an image of ourselves for a closer look achievement. Then we want to take this crystal and move it into another device just on the other side of the room. That lets us activate this device. We start with only 3 minutes of time, but as you go through more memories, the time will be expanded so you get more time to do things. There are also scissors here in case you missed the scissors or didn't get scissors in the tutorial area. There's also a journal. You can draw in it if you want to, but there doesn't seem to be any achievements associated with that. Once we leave through this door here, we discover the replicator where we can create items using codes. And we get our first code from this nearby piece of paper and we can enter it in. Per run, we can only create 3 items in this replicator. There is also an achievement for making 3 in a run, but obviously we have to first find 3 codes. There we go. The first thing we get is this sort of party popper celebration device, which doesn't really give us much right now. But we can also grab this rocket that's on the ground, and if we use it, we can grab it quickly and then fly into the replicator, into the bio backup unit. You can also do that with the jetpack device if you find one. Right now there's nothing really we can do in the bio backup unit. We will need to bring more tools, but that lets us have that area uncovered. If you didn't get the rocket, then catch the rocket or didn't fly in. There are 3 rockets available from this device in the cockpit, so you can always grab an extra one, but it is limited. It is 3 per run from here, so if you use them all per run, you won't get more from there. When it's around 30 seconds to journey end, the game starts fading out and taking you out of the run, so keep that in mind. Like, one of the things you can do before finishing a run, because you can still move, it's just gonna fade out more and more, is sit in your chair, because that's one of the additional memories, is to finish the journey sitting in the chair. It's called Good Boy. You can do it in any run, it works anytime. Just you have to remember to get back in the chair before the 30-second mark, so you still have time to actually control the character and sit down. Or you could sit there the whole time, but obviously that takes longer and longer the further you go. So after that, we get a little summary of what we've discovered this run, and we can just keep going afterwards. So we have 2 mechanics here. One is uncovering memories, right? That's where we get the grayed out sort of hints of what we could do. So that's generally triggered by entering areas or finding objects that are related to the memory. And then there's the actual reliving memories, where we get them checked out for you've done what was told. It is fairly easy to go through them. Like, after this first run, I've already got 17 relived memories, so it shouldn't take too long. Obviously, some of them are harder to do because you need to understand a lot more about the mechanics and know where to get specific tools, but at the start you should be getting through a lot of them at once, and then if needed, in this menu you can ask for further reminders or hints of how to do something. But for now, let's just keep going. Now we should have more time. Yes, we're going from 3 minutes to 10 minutes in our run. So let's take this crystal and hop up to the top. We don't need to make the party device here, just grab a rocket from here, it can be helpful later. But yeah, we want to save the usage of the code in case we get more things. In the shaft below we have this door, but we do need to find a code for a key in order to open it. Now, one thing you want to be careful about is those pressure plate lasers, because they will set off certain items like the rocket. So if I were to stand on that, it would shoot a laser and my rocket would activate. So if you're carrying something important, make sure to jump over them. The radio also has some memories attached to it. So one of them is getting the radio shot with the laser, to play around with the radio. And then several radio songs at once just requires her to find more radios and bring them together. Next room we can uncover is the hygiene chamber right here. There's a few things we can do here right away. One of them is we can grab this potted plant and put this in this shower area. And then water comes out of the shower by interacting with it. and then that will water the plant. Sometimes they don't pop, and you can pick up the water and just throw it at the plant if needed. There is a toilet we can use, but achievements only come once we're able to unlock the additional lock on it, but it requires a tool. But for now we can turn those laser redirecting arrows, and we can unlock the items that are at the top. One of them is this vacuum cleaner device that sucks things up, and we can keep activating the shower to suck up lots of water into it. Yeah, so if you suck up 20 items, it will get a too many items achievement. You can also throw it while it's sucking to get the ghost cleaning achievement, because it will continue doing it. You can reverse it to start releasing items it has in it. Another thing we can do in here is open this crate by shooting it with a laser. So if we just activate this laser, we get a laser crystal out of them, and yes, if we let the laser crystal shoot the laser barrier, it would unlock, and that's also an achievement. So another thing to do in the hygiene room is that we can set things on fire, and one of the items that drops down when we open the top compartment is this little lighter, and we can grab it and use it to set ourselves on fire, everything else on fire, and that's one of the achievements. There's also just setting loads of items on fire. Interestingly, the containers with water will catch fire too. Obviously, we can use them to extinguish things as well, and that's another achievement. But to get lots of items on fire, we can just keep setting the water on fire, and then we get the Pyromaniac. There we go. There we go. It activated the rocket by shooting it. But yes, here that means we can, for example, unlock this laser barrier at the bottom and get through to the lower part of this and unlock more crates, more elements. Now what we get here is this item, the bolt cutter. That's also an achievement, and one of the key items that will let us unlock certain places on the ship that are otherwise inaccessible. If we move the crates here, we can also find the code for that same item, so that it can be recreated in the replicator every time, so you don't have to come here to get it, and it will unlock those purple bolts. It is an item that just goes into your inventory storage, so you don't need to like carry it in your hands, and once you have it for the run, then you have it. Now another thing we can do here is the blue crystal that's in one of the clays. When it's activated with a laser, it starts replicating and duplicating things. So we can start making more and more crystals, and there is a bunch of achievements related to having too many items, and also you can duplicate yourself if you stand in the range of it, which just creates a copy of you, and then you can just carry your corpse around as well. Now, we want to save a couple of the blue and red crystals so that we can continue the duplication experiments in our ship. However, what we also want to do in this room, once there is a bunch of items created, is pull this lever. So we can open the hatch, and we get an achievement for deep space littering if we have more than 100 objects, but also we get an achievement for sucking ourselves out to space and dying, and then we come out of the replicator, because we already know cloning exists. So yes, it's a copy of us that has been recreated. Now everything from here is gone, but if we go down here, we should still have some of those crystals that we can use to replicate lots of things, or have the laser crystal shoot the water dispensers a lot. Now we're in hydroponics. Here is where we water and grow plants. So if you just start throwing the water around, it will water plants. There's also seeds in boxes that you want to plant and water to get the various plant-based achievements. and memories related to the plants. This game can get quite chaotic quite easily. The plants have different uses as well, because some of them produce the laser beam, some of them produce the jump crystal mechanic. If we take the laser shooting crystal with us as well here, we can release this seed that's up top there. Oops, turn the lights off accidentally with the lasers. So the seed I released there, we can also grow it if we water it. Also, one of the plants grow these strange seeds, so if you just eat it, you get another achievement for eating the strange fruit. But yes, growing the seed from the closed area will make a carnivorous plant that eats our face. So if you get close to it, you will get achievement for it eating your face, and then growing 5 plants in one run, that's another one. Sometimes they're popping up faster than I can say that it's happening. So now we're very quickly to 40's memories uncovered and 35 lived. So basically we're like over a third of the game done in just a couple of runs. Now that we know how to create that kind of wrench device, we can do that right away when we start our run. So the code for that, as we've seen, is this. And we receive it, and we can pick it up so that it's ready for us. This game has fairly free exploration, so obviously you can go to any rooms as you want. If we just continue going straight through, we find this dark room with a hidden light switch. You can also you'll be able to see here, if you pick up one of those items and use this, those are light sticks, and you can bring it here so that you can see when the light is off. So here, that's the gym. There's a bunch of things you can do in the gym, and you need to do 3 of them in this run in order to unlock the door here by the entrance. First one is space basketball. You need to get the balls into the hoop. It's fairly easy to do if you just throw the ball up, as I say, and fail. You can use this laser device here to produce more balls, because they disappear after you throw them in to the basket. There we go. So that basketball done. That's an achievement as well. Here we have a couple items. One of them is this weight thing. If you just push it up and down while you're holding it for a while, you will also achieve an achievement for training with your weights. And you get giant muscles as well. The next one is this climbing exercise, where you basically just have to swing yourself around and then catch the arm holds. Pressing B will release the oldest hold point you've had. So it's basically you grab the next arm hold, then you release your other arm, and then you keep swinging until you get to the very top. With this one you have to jump. So you release as you're the right way, and you grab again as you're next to the one you want to grab. Then once you have the highest arm hold, just pull this lever to complete the task. You can also just take out this crystal to turn off gravity once you're here. And that gives us access to the yoga area. It requires radio for us to complete it, so we have to go out and bring the radio with us. Fortunately, there is one just in front of the gym, so don't have to go far. So place the radio in, and then you basically have to position your character in the orientation the screen is showing, and try to keep them like that for a little bit. It's a bit fiddly, but it's doable. There we go. It doesn't have to be very exact, but you have to more or less be in the orientation that's on the picture, and that completes the space yoga, and that completes the main parts of the gym. But there's also a couple more memories we can do here. So we can go through this gate now here to access the lower area, and we get the code for this laser gun, and there's a flashlight too in case you need it now. There's a few more things to do in the gym before we fully leave. Unfortunately, this resets every time, so then if you want to open the door on each run, you have to do it a bunch. While in 0G, we can fly into this little nook and find ourselves in this weird room where our balls get stuck in if we drop them down there as well. Then you have to be very careful in order to get out of there because it keeps being popped by the jump crystals. Yes, we're in the ball vent now. And that takes us out to the space simulator area. There's a secret exit here. And here we can get the code for the jetpack. But again, before we go too far with this, we can go back to the gym to try and finish things off there. So while the gravity is still off, there is another achievement for using the racket to get balls into the hoop. And I think that's easier to do in the no gravity situation. Because yes, then we can freely float about and just bounce the ball. Another thing to do at the gym is to throw yourself into the spaceball hoop from the handholds. Now that we had a plant eat us, we get a little dashboard plant as well. Okay, and we now know more than 3 codes, so we can enter them into the replicator. So we've got the code for the jetpack, the code for the gun, and the code for the wrench tool. So that's 3 codes and another achievement for us. Now, after we've done this, a code appears on the replicator. So we won't be able to use it in the same run because that only happens once you've had 3 items, but you need to write it down for next time. Now that we've got the laser gun, we can do some other things with it at the replicator, but in order to be able to get there with the gun, we have to do a couple other things. If we go back to the hygiene chamber to grab the zappy laser crystal, which is in the box, we can open this. And then we need to climb up here and open this box up in order to turn off gravity in this area. Because now we can float up while holding the gun into the replicator. Here we can just use the gun to shoot those barriers. And if we turn the light on, we can see that we have released all of our replicated corpses from the replicator. And that's another achievement for our collection. Not disturbing at all. We're back to the replicating crystals, and actually something I didn't do last time because I just released them into space is cause there to be too many items in the ship, but also if we put the replicator crystal next to the radios, we should be able to cause the radios to duplicate as well for our many songs situation. Okay, yes, we have multiple radio songs playing, multiple radios. But now we just have to let those crystals duplicate all over the ship until the game basically breaks because there are too many objects in the ship at once. If we just mix the laser crystal with the blue crystals, that should eventually just start happening. You may just need to wait for a little bit. As they start duplicating more and more, the game performance is going to start becoming really poor, but this is fine. You just want to keep going with it until you receive both the achievements for too many items and the achievement for basically breaking the matrix. You can then just quit to menu to restart because the game isn't working properly anymore, and even the timer slows down, so the run won't finish until a very long time, but you just have to wait for the achievements to pop first. Cargo overload is the first one of them for cloning too many items. By now the performance is pretty poor. And then we get the Matrix Meltdown, where, yes, everything is just slowing to a crawl, and the ship is basically overrun with the duplicated crystal. They, like, go through the doors and fill other rooms, and general mayhem happens. Once you've got those achievements, you can't just go back to the menu. Now, a thing that has happened I haven't even reached in the game now is block the black hole. So I'm gonna get to the black hole soon and kind of re-explain those achievements that have just happened without us even looking at the area. So you don't have to finish a run in order for the memories to count, and then continuing just restarts the run. We kept the cargo overload and the other achievements I gained. So now to re-explain what happened with the sudden black hole and the poop achievements. If we keep going past the central shaft and into this room where we would normally go to the bathroom. If we turn off gravity here, then turn this, we can use the laser to open this door, and we also get an achievement for doing that. And that will take us into this void research place. And here's the black hole, so you will basically get the achievement for blocking it if you have like lots of items duplicating here and going into the black hole, and then that whole room gets clogged, and therefore the items can't come out of the black hole because there's already too many things in. And also one of the things that clearly happened is that the item I threw in, or one of the crystals that went in, was replaced with the space poop item, which then caused the other achievement. Get a little balloon. Another thing to do with the black hole is to just jump in yourself to get recalibrated into a different shape, get our new look for our character. Now we want to get our wrench item so that we can turn off gravity here and explore more. As we read the replicator now, we can also enter the code we got in the previous run. So this is the code. And we receive the other key that lets us unlock other gates, the Emblem Key. So we can unlock this here, but we're not gonna go in for now because we want to return to Void Research right now. But yes, that unlocks a bunch more exploration for us. So here we can use the normal wrench to open this, and that will turn off gravity in the room if we get the gem out, which will then allow us to fly about. But yes, there's also another key operated hatch in here that we can then enter. Go on top of the room. We've got a code for this wrench we've just got, but yes, it gave us it from the previous filling in all the free codes, but you can also receive it here. And if we go near this, we will get a prompt for turning your retro game on. Okay, so now for this door behind here, we can go in here and we're in Void Engineering, and we have this device here. We can insert some crystals and then go in ourselves to activate it. And this is also a cloning machine. However, we want to have 3 blue crystals in the device at once, which means we need to get another blue crystal from the downstairs cargo area first. So we need to turn off gravity to get out of here, then grab the blue crystal and just fly out. Be careful not to end up flying into the black hole as we traverse, because then we will lose the crystal. Carefully go around the bottom and then into this area and place the crystal in the machine and activate it. Full cloning power. It still does not create live copy of us, but it gets us an achievement. Few more things to do with the Void Research and Void Engineering. We want to grab the impairment tools from the ship or the replicator, so we want to get the key and the wrench. And then as we're on our way, we also want to grab the vacuum cleaner device from the bathroom. And we want to suck up a bunch of things into this vacuum cleaner so that it's filled. So now that when we go into the black hole area, we should be able to reverse the vacuum cleaner and then shoot items into the black hole to get the Between Us Black Holes achievement and produce a bunch of items. Now we don't need that anymore. Oh, here's the poop I mentioned before that you get out of the black hole that for one of the achievements. For another achievement inside the Void engineering room, we need each type of crystal in there, which we previously got the blue one into there, so we already know how to do that. But we can also get a red crystal again from the hygiene chamber box here, and then carefully transport it around the ship, because it is quite a messy one with it hitting various things when we don't always intend to. Bring it into here, also crumble the meteor apparently. Although it's again one of those achievements where you can achieve them without really seeing what happened. But there we go. All of them are in, and then putting them into the replicator causes it to behave weirdly. Because it replicates and it shoots us up and it shoots lasers. But now we need a way to go up still into the rest of the room. For that, we can once again grab this jetpack that tends to sit down at the bottom of this shaft. And then as we fly up here, we probably want to quickly take out the duplication crystal from here, because it causes chaos for the next thing we want to do. We want to avoid it accidentally being triggered by the lasers. Okay, so here we need to direct the laser beams around so we can open this gate. Okay, the door's unlocked, and that gets us to spare part storage. There's a bunch of items here, and there's also a vent we can get into, which gives us another area and another achievement. It's hard to move around the vents without things like the jetpack, or there's another item you can get for that. There is a game controller, which we can take to our game console, and maybe that will work. You have to use some of the signal devices here to reopen the door. We just have to kind of throw it out there so that it's ready for us. Unfortunately, my jetpack is stuck up in the sky. So let's see if I can find another jetpack in storage as well. Can disable gravity in the storage unit so that we're able to just use the bottom door as well to get out of there. And that takes us into another new corridor area with access to the vents. We can get into the vents from this side, and then there is a jetpack available here so that we can actually make it around the vents. Okay, well, I've gotten out to the hydroponics, so I can just fly out here and get to where I actually want to be. Okay, here. Here we are with our gamepad again that we've rescued from storage. So if we're careful, we will now be able to play the game console, assuming I don't end up in the black hole and it doesn't get replaced with something else. So just carefully go around the edges and towards the game console and use the item, and we get the Space Sprout 64 achievement. It involves a little bit of maneuvering around the ship, but we made it. We made it. So that is Void Research complete. For the Law of Reflections achievements, we need to set up a way of the reflective mirrors with arrows, where a signal from our laser device just gets bounced 10 times or more. It's quite possible to do this randomly by just having a room full of lasers and reflective objects. So just gotta keep trying. We can now go and explore behind this door since we haven't done this yet. So we just need the key to open it and we can get in. Here is the life pod bay, where there are escape pods and various other things we can play around with. And also in this box there is a handheld game console, which we can pick up and we can use for more games. All hands on deck! That's another memory. And this item here will exchange the item we give it for another item. We can enter the escape pods, but there is more work required to actually launch them, and there's a couple achievements for doing so. We can use a fire extinguisher here to prepare ourselves in the air. However, it's not as good as the jetpack, so we're limited in what we can reach using this. But if you keep pressing jump, it does sorta get you higher up. If we bring the laser crystal here, we can mess with this dispenser to have it dispense all of the items. We can also mess with the gravity from further away. We can also launch the escape pod by getting hit with the laser. There are still things to do in the life pod bay. One of them is to send a plant to space, and another is to send ourselves to space. We just get a plant into the pod, and that's the easier one because we can just send it ourselves. But obviously, sending it with us inside, that might be more complicated. So we need to move this out of the way, and then quickly press it and get in the pod while it's preparing to launch. Get in the chair, and off we go! We've escaped from the ship. That's a different way for us to arrive in the little escape pod. It immediately ends the run, but that's fine. Yep. Alternate arrival. So we can continue exploring through this exit here. This one is a bit tricky because the exit is kind of sideways. We get another code here for the reflection, the item that reflects lasers. And we're under the hygiene chamber now. And we get an achievement for traveling through the sewers. And here we get a code for this wrench, which you also need to unlock a bunch of paths. And we can exit through to the space simulator. So here is one of the places where we could use that wrench we've just learned about. But there is also a spacesuit. And once we wear the spacesuit, we could go to space or just into the vents. So now if we shoot ourselves out the hatch, we can unscrew the vent control again and open the hatch. And now we're in space in our spacesuit, although it does look quite a bit broken. But at least we didn't die. And we've reached the credits of Space Sprouts out there in space. Unfortunately, that's also not very good for the performance of the game. Eventually, we do end up back on the ship, although the performance of it is not great. So we may have to restart the game. Anyway, now we know the code for that extra wrench. We can start doing extra things and exploring extra areas. First of all, if we get all 3 of the wrenches in one go, we're gonna get an achievement for that. There we go. All 3 key items, and the wrench has its own achievement as well. So now we know a couple places we can open with this wrench. We can unlock the shower, which gives us access to the sewers. We should also be able to unlock this toilet and then get an achievement using it when it's unlocked, but this currently seems a bit bugged. Okay, seems you can do it with mouse and keyboard, but not with gamepad. And then we've got all the poop, and then we can use the toilet while it's open. And yes, that should give us the no discretion. There we go. Then we can get back in the sewers and go back through here into the space simulator. Wear our spacesuit, and then we should be able to also leave through here if we can open up all the doors. So we can use the wrench in here. That opens it up. And then we're able to leave through the loop. And then we can use this jetpack to go against the flow of the loop. Now we've got some asteroids that were put into the boxes here next to this mining unit. But yes, we can use the lasers to crack them and get some crystals out of them. And if we fly in this space simulator with the lights off, we get another achievement. Here we can also see the code for the wrench. Actually, multiple of the wrenches. The lights keep coming in and out because of the laser crystal. So yes, it's giving you hints in case you didn't find all of the wrenches yet. You can see them here. There are doors above here. we can use to get back into the gym. Something else to do in this early room is knock out all the rockets from the rocket container by just slamming into it. But also we can open this overgrown hatch with one of the keys. That will give us yet another access to the vents, and we can fly around because every entryway is a separate achievement. And here we get a code and an item, and this is the gravity redirector, which basically lets us switch local gravity around. So when we use it, the gravity changes direction, and we can travel by just changing it around to wherever we want to. I end up back in storage, and then from here we can use this exit because there is another way here, place to use the wrench. If we just reach this panel at the top, and we can enter yet another area, the energy supply, where we've got crystals shooting things locked by the wrenches, so we could mess with the whole ship here. We've got a plan for the energy supply. We can power it up with 2 crystals, and we can turn it off while removing crystals. Now we can slide in there and grab the crystal, but then we have to position ourselves just right to get back out. So we can, if we get the crystal out, the engines will turn off, and then the ship stops. We're stranded in the depths of space. So the other option is to supercharge the engine to get different effect, which requires 2 of the crystals. So we need to bring 1 in here. So to overcharge the engine, we're gonna need to make some preparations. We're gonna need a couple tools to take with us, and of course the red crystal. The red crystal is easily accessible in the hygiene room, but what we're also going to bring is a couple of the wrench tools. So this is the wrench that will unlock the access to the engine room. Now we're gonna need the wrench to unlock the access to the vents, but we don't need to make it because we can find it at the bottom. And the second device we're gonna need is the gravity device, because I think that's gonna be the easiest one to go through the vents, where we have to have both a crystal and some device to maneuver, so having to use a jetpack and push the crystal around is probably much harder than taking this thing around and making the crystal basically fall where we want it to. So that can wait for us here, and then we go to the hygiene room for the crystal. So we already know there is one in this compartment here, in this box. A bit unhelpful that this crystal activates all the devices because it's gonna mess with us as we're trying to go. Well, before we go, we need to open this place as well because we want to get the other wrench that will let us unlock the entrance to the vents, and then we need to disable gravity so we can get out. So now what we want to do, yes, this is the problem now. We can't contain the crystal easily, so it's going to mess with us. So yes, we can store it inside of this device to have it just sit here instead of actually jump around and shoot lasers. And now I have to find the gravity device that got shot off from the room. There we go. So we'll need to remove the crystal and have it go up there. Take the gravity device to get ourselves in there to even open this vent. And then we need to change the gravity around so we can get the crystal to come with us. A safer way to deal with some of the red crystal problems, it might be if we turn off gravity in the chamber, purely because that nullifies the gravity changing device, so for a little bit we don't have to worry about it. So if we enter through this top door, the gravity controls are up here, which means now the lasers shooting around will not pose as much danger to us in terms of changing the whole arrangement of the room. So now we can fly up to the vent and open it up and enter just with the crystal because we have to go in there with it. We can also bring the scissors here to give the plant a haircut. Because despite this working earlier, apparently this time it's behaving weirdly and won't let me release the vent. Meanwhile, the crystal is just messing with ship controls. There we go. So we take the crystal here. Apparently I just got the achievement for emptying the rocket vessel because I guess when I've done it previously it was just through actually knocking it over. So here we can stash the crystal inside one of those devices so that again it's not floating off somewhere, it's not causing too many issues while we go and get the gravity device so that we can move within the tunnels. So here we want to drop everything down into that tunnel on the bottom right. So we use the gravity device to get ourselves to this side, the crystal to this side, and then go down those tunnels, pushing the crystal along with us. But yes, this is where we get into the trouble of that crystal changing our directions unexpectedly. So if we can get it to go ahead of us, we can avoid some of it at least. So we want to go to the right here and then up top. It may have floated away somewhere. Need to bring it back. Yes, go ahead of us, crystal. And then once again we have to take it actually in hands to get in this vent. Now we're in storage, so we can take it through here. Here, if we turn off gravity, we should be able to just jump up into there, not needing the gravity device anymore. Although we could use it if we wanted to. And here we're in the engine chamber, so we can open up those vents, but we're also gonna need to maneuver ourselves in there, or we can just throw it in. There we go. Hyperdrive. We're going extra fast now. I also got the Remembrance achievement for unlocking all the core memories. So this will just come as you do things and unlock them. So it might happen in this order, it may not, depends on what you're doing. But yes, that ends our journey really quickly because we're going hyperspeed. Okay. To get the secret achievement Hodor, you have to grab a fake door and carry it around. There is a fake door in this tunnel leading to the engine room and a fake door in the engine room. However, if you grab this door in the engine room, the achievement doesn't unlock. There is no gravity in there, and so you're not holding it apparently. You need to take the door to somewhere that there is gravity, so if you turn off the gravity here, it doesn't seem to work either. We have a few more achievements we need to get. There is a plant we want to grab for the quantum entanglement situation. The plant is here by the vent opening, but it's currently pretty wilted, so we need to go and water it. We've got water in the hygiene chamber. Then we need to take it with us to hydroponics. And then there's another plant like this we can water here, the top there. And now we can use them to teleport from plant to plant, basically. And that gives us the quantum entanglement. We also still need to trigger the group shower, which is just getting a bunch of plants watered at the same time. So if you just take a water cube and use it between the plants, that will water all four of them at once when you have them in those holders, and that should trigger the group shower achievement. A couple more things we can do is mess with those devices here where we put the red crystal instead of we put the red crystal in instead of the yellow, but also we can put a blue crystal instead as well to trigger different effects. So we could easily put a blue crystal into this one, which gives us Space For Modification. And now triggering that obviously makes the duplications happen, so I'm gonna be careful about that. Another thing here is we need to send some poop to space so that we can see it fly by after. So to get that done, we do need the blue wrench as well from the replicator. With the replicator, there's also an achievement for entering a wrong code. That gets cleared out so it doesn't use up our replicator slot, but it is an achievement. So if we get the blue wrench, we can then open the toilet, bring some poops down here. Of course, we have to first use the toilet before that will be available. We can take just one because we have blue crystals down there, which means we will be able to replicate lots of them just in case one is not enough. But we also have to stay in the chamber while this is all going on because otherwise we can't see the poop fly by the window. I guess if we may be fast enough about returning once we respawn, it will still work. But yes, we don't want to be doing this many crystals. We want to be copying the poops. Oh, maybe I will get stuck and not get thrown out. Because there is no gravity, I can resist. But yes, where are my poops? Were there not enough of them? There we go. So yeah, just needed to wait a little bit because the objects will continue flying around the ship and then we can see them. Or maybe not, because I think it was actually just hidden behind the side of the ship. But there we go. There it is. It's floating by. There is an achievement for fully emptying the spare part storage. So we basically want to get all the items out from this room. Now we can get them out into the corridor or into the void engineering room. What we want to be careful with in void engineering is that there is a duplication crystal in there, which will cause everything to duplicate that you throw into that room, and then bad things will happen. So you may want to go in here and take it out first and throw it away so that when things are thrown in here, they don't end up landing in there. So now when we're emptying the room, we should be safe from items becoming duplicated and basically breaking the game as we do it. We just need to get the gates open for them to go through and use a bit of gravity tricks to try and get the items removed. It is a bit messy, but with time should be doable. Just keep switching gravity and then pushing the items. Either door works, right? Things can be pushed out through here as well. There is also a plan for the laser beam device here. You want to print one. Once you've gotten the bulk out of the devices out of here, you should be able to just carry and throw stuff as well into the doors specifically, although some of them are super awkward. It's just when there is a lot of items in here, it's very hard to move and maneuver, but it gets easier. The small stuff can just fall down and be pushed out the other door, but the big things just do not fit next to the gravity device. There we go. That's all of the things from the storage. Now, unfortunately, I lost my jetpack in the process, so I have to just scramble in the dark and figure out where else I can go. Well, I've managed to also trigger the achievement for getting into the lifeboat bay through the other side because I came through the storage tunnel. Now that we can print the laser device, we may also be able to use it to bypass the gym. So if we use the laser device here, we can just activate all of the buttons and get through the gym without actually putting any effort into it. There is one additional memory in Space Sprouts with a description of connected dots. As we explore the ship, there are 3 symbols for a replicator code, each with a number of dots from 1 to 3, which in the end create an extra code for an item. This item is a translation board for the text in the game. There is no secret language to decipher here. The characters are just in alphabetical order and the bottom section of the tablet is numbers. From here we can use this to translate the text across the game. Especially the tutorial area has a bunch of posters explaining things about the game. And that, as far as I know, is the final secret in Space Sprouts. And that's all 100 achievements for the game Space Sprouts. Let me know in the comments what you thought about this one. And if you enjoy my content, consider liking or subscribing. Thank you to the channel members for supporting the channel. And I will see you soon on another adventure.